and is excluded from all future pairwise comparisons. And then lastly, after that exploratory modeling is run, this is one of our tools for visualizing those distributions of expert opinions. This is a model of the likelihood of Iran blockading the Strait of Hormuz. 138 subject matter experts weighed in on all the relationships in the model. Here we're looking at 18 scenarios, and one thing that pops up pretty quickly is the main effect of Iran's progress on developing nuclear weapons. We see a big step up with each of those three levels, but within those groups, the other two factors don't seem to have a big effect. And so we can say, all right, let's ignore those other two factors and throw some other options into the mix, or some other possible issues that could occur. Thank you. The bottom part is the drill down I mentioned. So there's that red line there, that's a threshold separating out those 6 outliers. And we're saying, okay, what are the rules, what are the classification rules distinguishing those outliers from the rest? And we can see, well, the level of threat to Iran's nuclear program is the most important factor here. If it's below a certain point, the outcomes come below the line, that's the green box. If it's above a certain level, then it comes down to whether or not Iran's nuclear program is attacked, and so forth and so on. And so this tree goes down in descending priority to explain that. So that's the process. Let's get into the data we got. And unfortunately, I can just talk about the process and not about the actual results due to privacy issues, but the point of this is the method, not the results. What happened was an organization had done an employee satisfaction survey using a traditional survey method, Likert scale, multiple choice, all that kind of stuff. That's great for telling you what, doesn't tell you about why or how, but the causal modeling method that we have can get it to the why and how. So we did semi-structured interviews with 50 employees to develop the models. That turned into 7 distinct problem areas, so 7 models. We used a mental modeler, an awesome tool. We're happy to tell you people about the awesome tools developed by Stephen Gray at Michigan State for doing the FCM process. And we ended up with 80 unique concepts and 98 relationships between them across those 7 models. We get 4 types of measurements out of this thing, each of which provides some useful knowledge. And you don't even have to use the whole method to get some of this stuff depending on what you're really interested for your application. So the edge weights we've talked about, those are the beliefs of the population. That categorical disagreement gives us some model level validation. There's a calibration step at the end where after they do those pairwise comparisons, the system says, okay, you said that this was the strongest relationship amongst all these things. How strong is it really? Because just because it came out strongest doesn't mean they think it's a strong relationship. So there's a calibration step there, and then the internal consistency of their results, which basically is something like this. You know, if you think cheddar is better than Swiss and Swiss is better than Brie, you would expect people to say cheddar is better than Brie. But if they say the other way around, the analytic hierarchy process gives us a way to manage that, and we can exclude data with low consistency. At 243 people total, not everybody did every model. They were sort of randomly selected because there's a lot of models to do. And just as an example, the compensation model, we saw fairly high inconsistency. And that tells us there's a problem with the model, and to take those results with a grain of salt and possibly look back at what didn't we capture correctly, or what was confusing to people. The rest were within tolerance. A ratio of less than 0.1 is considered more or less acceptable. I'm going to pick just one model to walk through very quickly.